Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking and Reviews, back to talk more comics. It's Thursday, so it's not new comic book day, but for me it is, because because of the Veterans Day holiday, the mail was late by a day, so, there's worse things that can happen in your life. Veterans Day is a very honorable holiday, so no big whoop. So let's talk Fallen Angels #1 really quickly. These are the variants that I got. This is the last Bagley one, so I think when we do our X-Men #2 review, we'll try to show what these look like when you put them all together. So I like this. Yeah, Nightcrawler's on there. And then you got the Tech book. I like that. Makes me think of Filter's Short Bus album from the 90s. And then the coup de grace, man. If I couldn't get my hands on the Pepe Larraz one, man, I would have been mad. So, those are the variants. Everybody talking off of this one. Okay, so I was... I am not quite sure how to talk about this one. But we're going to muddle through. I was excited when I listened to Comics by Perch's interview with Hill. I was very enthused about this. This was one of my top books. I was really excited about this one. Because I like psylocke, I like X-23. I think X-23 has been mishandled by other writers. Although, I don't know, I liked Honey Badger. I don't know. I liked her. I didn't like what they were really doing. I thought she was funny. I thought she was cute. But I didn't really like what they were doing with Laura for a while. And young Cable, well, young Cable's got a lot to prove for me. Because you killed old Cable, son. And when you kill old Cable and you're the young hotshot because you said Cable lost his way, and now everything's fine. There's peace. And so, did you really have to kill old Cable? Now, 2020 hindsight and all that, with peace so close, Cable's mission so close, the future of, the mutants was so on the cusp of peace. So, young Nathan Summers has got a lot to answer for, in my opinion. It's not his fault he was created, right? The writers made him this way. But I've always liked Psylocke, and the whole thing with Elizabeth Braddock and Quanon being separated, and now we have Psylocke and Captain Britain. It's a whole new ball game, and it's an interesting story. And you know what? Part of this book is almost like just too smart for me. I had to really sit there and think about it. I don't mean like, this isn't literal rocket science or anything. It's just there's a lot of stuff about Quanon that I never really understood. Anything that had to do with her, since I wasn't reading the books for a long time, if there was like more about her that has been revealed that that Hickman knows about and he's paying tribute to here, I don't know about it. And especially right at the beginning, I didn't quite know what was going on, except that I suspected that the girl at the beginning of this was her daughter, but I didn't know that Psylocke ever had a daughter. But what we're talking about here in this book is, Cable needs a war. He's a soldier. X-23 wants out of Logan's shadow, and she's not good with, safety and peace. And Psylocke has a mission. And with the way that Krakoa is set up and all this peace, where do they fit in? And we already were paying attention to the setup of the series. You knew all that kind of going in. But I wasn't quite prepared for how they begin it. And so we got this little girl, and we got the voiceover. The narration in the head of Quanon was the goddess of mercy. And mercy is my name, but it is not my way. I have been robbed of my own body, my identity. In that time of darkness when I was no one, I hope she was happy, free. So I was like talking about, like, is this Quanon talking about Braddock? Because we're showing this girl, so I didn't know if we were talking about this girl or what. This girl's got this stuff attached to her that makes her just like snap. But we hear a name, Apoth. And so this girl goes just bananas, and she's got this little butterfly tattoo. She goes bananas and she crashes the subway that she's on. And we have peace in our time with the butterfly symbol again. And I always did equate that with when you see psylocke's psychic face, a lot of times it was a butterfly. But you know, way back in like the end of like Claremont's run, before she became like Psylocke, before she went through the Siege Perilous, you'd see that image a lot on her face. Not after she became Psylocke, really. I don't believe that happened too often. But what got me interested was like, oh, Mr. Sinister's in this, Magneto's in this. Okay, well, how are they going to fit into this? Well, the book is called, the first issue is called Bushido. And we get a lot of background into Kwanan's like upbringing and her history and how she was molded and made into what she is now. And it's going to be a little rough trying to differentiate, you know, Kwannon and Psylocke, because she's Psylocke now. She has put Kwannon aside. Elizabeth Braddock took that, and now she's Captain Britain, and she's decided to keep the name Psylocke for herself. And we get this whole thing about how, you know, she's in this perfect place, and even with spilled blood, new life comes. But suddenly she's hit by this like vision, you know, this person telling her it's not a dream, this is happening, and there's this guy named Apoth that she has to kill. And basically this person's saying, don't ask my name, so of course I really want to know who this is. Talking about basically, you know, when Abraham heard the voice of truth, he did not ask, he listened, he placed his child on the slab. So like the voice of God, basically, this person's kind of saying they are. And that you'll wither here, Psylocke, in the bosom of Xavier's peace. And that she must kill a god. And then they give this whole thing about something precious has been taken from you. And we see images of a baby. And so, I mean, it's now pretty easy to tell that she had a kid. And is this one of the people that raised her? Talking to her? I don't know. But she goes to Magneto, who is mourning Xavier's death. Now, why are they still mourning Xavier's death when he can be resurrected? Wow, it took me a minute to say that word. I don't know. We all know that it can happen. I don't know why it hasn't happened. Maybe it's like too soon. Maybe it takes a little while for them to, you know, pop another one of these suckers out of the egg. But he is, you know, trying to give her what she wants without actually giving her what she wants. She wants to leave to find out if this is real. And he's like, I can't let you go. Charles wouldn't, you know, approve of this kind of thing. This is, you know, peacetime and all that. But hey, go talk to Sinister and, you know, see what he's all about over there. So he gives her an out without telling her that she's got an out, which I feel like they're already kind of setting up all these things to blow up in their face, to destroy their peace, almost as if they can't help it. Like that their natural state is to always, you know, I don't know. But, you know, since the series has started, you know, Charles has already been blown away, which again, like, I'm not quite sure why he hasn't already just popped back up, but at least they're talking, you know, like, this is all connected, this is all happening, you know, very shortly from each other. And it's not necessary to absolutely read all the books, but, you know, especially when they give you the exposition. And if you're just not interested in the other books, at least they give you the information. But he, you know, he may find interest. He's telling him, go to see Sinister, tell him your visions, he may find them of interest. So she goes there, and of course Sinister is being Sinister, and he's got a DNA strand hanging out there, and He's basically like, don't be boring. Tell me what you want. You know. He's not being overly flamboyant in this part, anyway. But he's telling her to go talk to Magneto. He's like, hey, man, he told me to come to you. So that piques his interest. So he's telling me to break the laws of paradise. And, well, she responds with, well, you break the laws of nature. But he's like, well, there are no laws of nature, you know. So, you know, he kind of pushes her. That's where you have to sit there with a person like Sinister. He's going to try to push your buttons. He wants answers to questions that you don't want to talk about. But she's very forthcoming. She's not budging. She's not giving in, and she's not taking the bait, you know, as a lot of other characters would in this case. So he's like, what does it feel like to kill somebody? And she's like, well, it made me realize that when you choose to kill them. And where was she when, you know, Braddock was in charge? She's like, I was burning, fuming, and no one could hear me. And if she could kill her, how would she do it? And she's like, quickly blast the psychic knife out. Kind of a psychic snick. So he tells her she can go, but she can't do it alone, and that she needs to find like-minded people to help her. So this is where we jump to X-23 and Cable hanging out. And they're, you know, on the sideline. She's like, well, you know, he's like, you're not dancing. Why don't you like the music? And she's just like, this is not how I get down, bro. So, but like even right before that, you know, they talk about Quanon. More background. And that she's the balance. And a balance is achieved through violence. That is the way of all things. That is mercy. You will be Quanon, the enemy of peace. So, you know, there's this little sparring match between Cable and X-23 where she just bashes him in the face, and then they're playing around. And Psylocke comes in and says, hey, I need to talk to you guys. This is where I live. Braddock, Captain Britain, tries to talk to her, and she's like, nah, that's all right. This isn't happening. I don't need this from you. Like, I've got other things going on that are more important than you and me and what you did to me and all this other stuff. Which is, I'm actually kind of happy about, like, that they've given Psylocke something that's more important than worrying about the past. Or at least that part of the past. Not that it's not always going to be a part of her, where it's going to be an itch in the back of her brain. But X-23 is fine to go, but she doesn't want Cable to go. And that he deserves this place, but he's a soldier. He'll do what you know, like, he might not be able to help himself. And that what's good for him is Krakoa. And while I would have agreed with you if it was old Cable, because I think that they still kind of think of it like that, I think new Cable needs to go out there and prove himself, at least to the readers, I still, like, me personally, okay, just me personally, I want them to do something with this character that redeems the action of killing Cable. Prove you're worthy of what you did, because Cable that we knew, while he has done some pretty crazy stuff in the past, man, I always thought he was a boss, man. He was the one who, you know, led the New Mutants out of Xavier and Magneto's shadow and gave them purpose again. You know, because the New Mutants were floundering for a long time. But anyway, that's another story. I don't want to beat that Cable thing to death. But X-23, she's like, I just want out of Logan's shadow, so let's go. So they go to Tokyo, where they meet up with this lady. They don't say who it is. I'm really... They just say Tokyo. I'm really looking for a name here. But she goes to, like, somebody in the underworld of Tokyo. And they want to know who's doing this, who's Apoth, where do I find him? And they get the video of the train and they see the butterfly tattoo. And this triggers, like, quietly triggers Psylocke. Where X-23 is like, hey, you alright there, buddy? And she gets the memory of that they say, remember this pain, Quanon. You loved a boy and we killed him. and your daughter must be taken from you. Love is weakness. So they killed a boy she loved, and they took her daughter. And they tell her to remember this. Now, was this all set up for a future psylocke? Was this all something that they all knew was coming? And in order for them to mold her into this weapon for the future, they had to ruin her past. I'm coming up with this on my own, like off the cuff, as I'm thinking about it, rereading it. So she sees the butterfly, and she tries. They tell her, the lady who wants to know, like, tell us where she is, man, or I'm gonna stick you with this frickin' psychic blade. And X-23's got her guards, and she just hits her with it, and that's a pretty graphic. I felt that. You feel that when you're when you're holding this book and you're reading it, and you feel that it's a shunk, and you look at that face and you see the butterflies coming out of her mouth, and you go, that's what the psychic blade used to feel like or what it's supposed to look like. And I think that is a great encapsulation of what it really looks like. Because sometimes it always looked kind of, not silly, but just like you don't really see the effect on the brain, on the damage it can do to somebody's psyche. And it's black or whatever. And so this is a really effective situation. And I just love that image. So she shows X-23 what's going on, and that she had a daughter, and that, let's go. And we get the white pages here about overclock. And honestly, while it's nice to get a description of the drug in quite a lot of detail, I'm not exactly sure how important it is, other than whoever made it is basically like an astronaut working at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. Okay? If that's your job, that's fine. I'm just saying that if you had, like, if Stephen Hawking, just suddenly rolled up and asked you, I don't want to do it, but you know what I'm saying. So they track down where she saw in the dream, and there's a bunch of kids all hopped up on the stuff. And we meet through the voice of one of the children, Apoth, who allows all the kids to die, and has one of them talk through it, like saying, hey, guess what? I noticed that you have an interest in me. That's interesting. And so I have an interest in you. And so, he talks about, she says, you're a coward that kills children. And he says, or it says, at this point, I shouldn't say he or she, if you ever killed a child, you would know how hard it is. Go back to your exile, mutants. Without you, this world will finally evolve. Leave me to my peace. So it's clearly a human, or somebody who wants this whole world to evolve in a separate way than mutant evolution. Now, I don't think, could this have any kind of connection with the phalanx stuff? I don't know, but with a tech drug, the interesting thing, I guess, about the drug is that it's a machine that creates this euphoria for you. So could that have any part that is something that's like the beginning stages of what we're talking about with humans evolving themselves? Now, it might not have anything to do with the phalanx stuff, but it could be the beginning of like that kind of leap. And so Cable shows up to, she brings everybody back to Sinister. And if you're interested in Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider, that's over there. But over here, they bring them back to Sinister. And she says, look, man, I'm gonna have a team put together, and you're gonna keep us from the council. And when we bring you Apoth, when I bring you Apoth, you can have whatever he's making. Whatever this does, you can have it. You have to protect us, protect our secret, and then I'm gonna kill this guy. And so she says we need to get a team together, find others that we can trust. And then she calls them that I'm gonna make you all butterflies. Which wasn't that what on Agents of Shields, the girl would always say that when she killed you, or when you died, she kept saying you're going to become a butterfly. I don't know. That has nothing to do with anything, but it's just the first thing I thought of. So now I'm curious. Okay, we got this part of the team together. Who else could she recruit for this kind of mission? Now, we know it shouldn't be Logan because X-23 wants nothing to do, she wants to strike out on her own. But I'm very curious of who she will get to be a part of this. This is a psylocke story. Maybe in the in future issues, I'm sure we'll branch out into the other characters and stuff like that. But right now we're focusing on Psylocke's part of it and finding her daughter, finding Apoth, whoever that is, and ending this machine thing for now, this machine drug, even though she's told Sinister that he can have it. So, anyway, that's a pretty interesting first issue. It is not what I expected. I'll be completely honest. It is not what I expected it to be. I'm not going to say it's better than what I expected, but it's different. I'd say this is... I don't know where I place this so far. I need this. But as far as... Especially because it focuses on Psylocke, which is something that's unique. I haven't seen a Psylocke story since in a while. But I'm very intrigued. The writing is really, really good. The art could be... The art is like... also very interesting. It reminds me of... I don't know what it reminds me of. But it's pretty good. And when it makes you think, it really is sitting there with me. This book is sitting with me. And I'm really trying hard to, I need to go back into this. And look at every image and try to extrapolate every word. And when you can get that out of somebody, then that's a mark of a good book. So yeah. Right now I'd say Marauders is still my least favorite book out of all the number ones. Even though Marauders is probably going to get better. I have hope for all of them. But I don't know where this one falls for me still. But we'll figure it out when we talk about it on another video. So, if you happen to like this video though, and I should have mentioned this at the top of the episode. I'm so bad at self-promotion. Last I checked, we were at 990 subscribers, but that dropped to 989 right after I announced that on Twitter. So, we're 989 subscribers. So we're really close. So if you are enjoying the content, please become a subscriber. We do comics, TV, movies, games, all of it. And if you happen to like this video, if you want to hit the like button, that would be great. Don't have to, no pressure. Hit the bell for all notifications if you do like the videos so you never miss out on them. Share this video with people that are like-minded. Otherwise, this is Robert Smarking Gun Review saying we will be back with X-Men number 2 in a little while. And then we've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 11, Punisher Soviet number 1, and I believe that's it for this week. So, anyway, have a great night, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.